Hello and welcome back to part 2, chapter 3, section 1. We left off with question 7, so we are ready to get moving on right here on number 8. It says replace each little circle with a less than, greater than, or equal to sign to make a true sentence. And what I would recommend you do here is to just change things to decimal, and I think that's going to be the easiest way to work these questions out. So number 8 says 89 hundredths there, but 11 thirteenths, we need to figure out what that is as a decimal. So the easiest way to do that, just grab your calculator, hit 11 divided by 13, because a fraction means division, and we have 0.846. So let's jot that down. That's 0.846, and since that's like 89 and that's like 84, and you can really just ignore the 6. Um, that would be greater than. So 89 hundredths is greater than 84 hundredths right there. So let's take a look at number 9. It says negative 2/3 and negative 3/5. All right, let's do this. Would you jot this down on your paper? Down here, would you just draw a line? This is actually going to help us on several of the problems. I should have done this on the last one. Right in the middle, put a 0. And then way over here, put a 1, put a really big gap. And way over here, put a negative 1. Now, in the middle of this right here, put 0.5, that's half. And in the middle of here, put negative 0.5, that's negative 1/2. That'll help us maybe get some of this, keep some of this straight here. If I have negative 2/3, if you put that in your calculator, you're going to see that that's actually equal to negative 6 repeating, or negative 666, on and on and on. Whereas this one is actually equal to negative 6/10, and it does not repeat. Okay, so here's negative 5/10. So as we move closer on our number line here, I'll use a red dot, we would hit negative 6/10, and then right after that, we would hit negative 6/10 repeating, because this one has more value to it. So if you notice that the negative 6/10 is closer to 0, well, that means that this one is actually the bigger number. This one that I'm putting the square around, that's the bigger number because it's to the right of the other number. So because of that, that means that this number is less than, negative 2/3 is less than, because again, that negative 6/10 right there is farther to the left of it. Okay, so that's how that one works out there. And I'm going to erase this here because I'm going to need to refer back to this number line in just a minute, I think. Number 10, negative 0.21. All right, well, this one I really shouldn't have to do much, because you notice how that's a positive number and that's a negative number? Well, that's pretty simple, that there is no such thing as a negative number that's greater than, so it has to be less than right there. All negative numbers are less than. So we'll just do that and move it on to number 11, 5/9. If you put that in your calculator, it says it says 0.5 repeating, and 6/11 is 0.54. Okay, so one way, if you're confused about how to compare decimals, you have to have the same number of place values. Okay, so picture that as 0.50, 0.54. So then just pretend the decimal isn't there, as long as the number of spaces are equal. And if they're not there, you know that 0.50 is less than 0.54 there. So that's less than. Just use those decimal values to do that. Number 12, negative 9/15. That's the same thing as negative 6/10, and that is negative 6/1. Okay, so let's do the same thing we did on the last question. Let's make that negative 0.60. Let's go back to our number line. There's negative 5. All right, you would hit negative 0.60, and then you would hit negative 0.61, like that. So that means that this number here, the 0.60, is greater than, because again, it's to the right. So that is greater than there. And then number 13, what you come up with there is that's 0.75. 7/9 is 0.7 repeating. So that's like 77. Okay, so that would be less than right there. Okay, because 0.75 is less than 77 right there. So Hopefully that helps coach you through that section right there. And then let's wrap things up here with number 14 and 15. It says of Nikki's home water usage, 7/50ths comes from lawn watering, 3/20ths from cooking. Does a greater fraction of water usage come from watering lawn or cooking? Well, so when I'm done with this, they're asking me um, of these two scenarios, home water and lawn watering, which one uses more water? Okay, does a greater fraction exist from lawn watering or from cooking? Well, let's check it out here. Watering, which would probably be like watering your grass outside during the summer, that was, let's see, 7/50ths. Well, let's convert that to a decimal, which is 0.14. And then let's check cooking, which is 3/20ths. And that is equal to 0.15. And so they're both positive numbers, so the greater value is cooking right there. Whoop, greater, didn't finish my R. And so the decimal allows us to compare values a little easier than fractions do, so we might as well take advantage of it because we can. Just dividing that in your calculator to get it. And let's wrap it up here with number 15. On his first reading test, Trey answered 26/30ths answers correctly. On his second reading test, he answered 34 out of 40 correctly. Which test did he have the greater, the better score? All right, first test, 26 out of 30. So you want to put that in your calculator and divide it, see what you get. And it looks to me like you get 0.86. And put that in your calculator and you'll see the 6 repeats. So look at how I drew my bar on that. That 6 is repeating on and on. So that's the first score. The second score, which was 34 out of 40. And that divides out to 0.85. So which one is greater? Clearly, the first test is the greater score. It's 86, 87% compared to 85. So it would be the first score is it. And that's the greater score. So that wraps up this section. Make sure you get everything down. Please review anything that doesn't make sense to you. And we'll see you soon.